Okay, Boker Tov, a good day, wherever you are. Hayom Yom. Today is the day. Every day is the day, right? A new day, a new start. So today we are 16, Cheshvan. Thought, machshava, is a garment. There's three garments to the soul: thought, speech, and action, going from inside out: thought, speech, action. And thought is a garment. It dresses up the intellect, and therefore it's a servant of the intellect and emotions. Now, even when it is not serving the intellect or emotions, it continues to function. There's an expression, the river of thought. Very hard to stop the river of thought. Thoughts are always going through a person's mind, and there are conscious ways of dealing with it, meditative ways to deal with it, but generally it's an always flowing. It's called, in the metaphors in Chassidus, a river of thought, always on the move. Continues to function, thinking and meditating. However, this activity, when it's not tied to a particular concept and particular intellectual pursuit or organization, is then not only devoid of content, but it's open to depravement. It is explained that alien or evil thoughts are caused by emptiness of the head. When the thoughts are just mulling around with no direction given from the seichel. That's called emptiness of the head, even though the head is full of thought. It's like a flood, tossing everything about. For when the mind is occupied, when seichel and mashava are locked together, the thought has something to serve. It's designed to be a servant, a garment for intellect. And there's no room for stupid and vain thoughts devoid of substance. That's exactly pretty good in translation. Machshava shel stus, thoughts of stupidity, behevel and vanity, she'en behem mamish, which really have nothing to them at all. All right. So let's attach our thought to a concept, the concept of the relationship between a tzadik who passes away and the rest of us who are still here. We're continuing that letter in Lessons in Tanya, page 181 in chapter 5. In volume 5 of this book, 181. And in Likutei Moharan, page 292, the line begins, Ila ve'olo. It's about 2/3 of the way down the page. Ila ve'olo kanoida. Oh, excuse me, wrong page. Am I right? Today's the 15th? Yeah. Today's the 15th or the 16th? I'm confused.
16th.
16th. Yeah, thank you. The 16th. So, it's on the other page. Kuf Mem Zion, near the bottom, about 5-6 lines up from the bottom. It begins, the line begins over on the left, Vehine. Yesh oid bechina, behold. There's another kind of bechina, a kind of ha'ora, a kind of radiation, the Talmidov, to the tzaddik's Talmidov. Okay, let's just quickly review the kind of ha'ora that we spoke about yesterday, that the Talmidim get. These are the Talmidim who were close to the tzaddik in his lifetime, and they have access to his emuna, his three midos, emuna, yira, and ava. These become invested in mislabeshes and become part of their own belongings. They adopt them. They are invested in them. In the language that we call in Chassidus, mamali kalam. These auras of Amuna, Ava, and Yira become part and parcel of them in the way of filling them up. And this is something available to everybody much more after the tzaddik passes away, because these midos, while he was here, were bounded by his body, and his thoughts, speech, and his writings. And now they're freeform, so to speak. They're released from that bondage to the physicality, and therefore they can have a broader influence on people who had been close to the tzaddik in their lifetime, and have a broader access. Now, what about the people who weren't so close to the tzaddik in their lifetime? So here we're speaking about now another level of effusion of ha'ora, another level of ha'ora that comes from above to below. And here's what it starts. There's another kind of light which comes to his students, and these are going to, as we'll see later, include those who become his students after his patira, who learn his ways from others and from studying and from learning his maimorim and his discourses, who weren't so close to him in his lifetime, but become students of his and adopt his teachings and his spiritual behaviors and his spiritual source after the tzaddik passes away. But this ha'ora, this ray, doesn't become mislabeshes, enclosed within them mamish, Rishona, like the first level, where that became part of their mamala, it became part of what filled their neshama. Rak me'ira aleihim milamayla. It shines onto them from above. And this is the same kind of language that we use about the way Hashem invests his ha'ora, his life force, into the worlds in two manners. One, he fills all worlds, which is responsible for the differentiation of worlds. And one, there's a ha'ora from above, which encompasses and penetrates everything equally, which we call soiviv kol. So this relationship of the Talmud and the Rav is there's the same two dimensions. The first, from yesterday, the mamala kol almin, how the tzaddik fills the person internally and becomes enclosed within the person. And this, which is ma'ira alehem milamayla, which shines through them from above, and this comes from the elevation of the tzaddik's spirit, right? First nefesh that remains down here with the bones, as we said yesterday. And as he passes, his next level of elevation is his ruach, and then the shama. And this elevation of the tzaddik goes all the way up, l'makor chaytzpoi, to the place from which the soul of the tzaddik is hewn. The hainu, and where is that? It's called in the language of Kabbalah, lachakal apuchin kadishin, to the holy orchard of apples. And through this, nashashon, it becomes there, up there in the holy orchard of apples, the highest levels of Gan Eden and even higher. There becomes there a yichud, a unity, al yidei halos mayim nuchvin, through the elevation of the so-called feminine waters, which are the mice of the deeds and the Torah and the avodah and the avoda, which the tzaddik has done, asher obed kol yimei chayav, all of his life. So all of the tzaddik's avoda goes up, 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 when his soul is freed from his body, to this very high level, which we call beautifully and metaphorically the holy orchard of apples. It goes up, 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 up. V'nizare b'chal tapuchin. And the usefulness of the metaphor, it's an orchard or a garden. So all of the avoda of the tzaddik goes up there and it seeds there. S-E-E-D, seeds, zera. It seeds there in that high, high place. Oire selyoin, supernal lights. Ma'oid, very, very high lights. La'umas tachtoinim, which correspond to the tachtoinim ashehem terasi ba'avasasai, to the correspondent to the deeds which he did through his Torah, the effect that he had through his Torah and his avodah down here below. So this energy goes up, 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 and it seeds new seedlings and new growths, which we'll see how that works out. And these supernal lights, me'ira al kol talmidov, they shine upon all of his talmidim, and we'll see soon at the end of this letter that includes those talmidim who became talmidim and adopted the ways of that tzaddik after he passed away. Shenasu oivdei Hashem. It goes to all of his talmidim who became servants of Hashem al yidei terasei v'avadosai, through adopting and coming close to the way of service that was taught by the tzaddik and the way of deed that was done by the tzaddik, imitating his ways. Ve'orazu, and this light, this ray, she'aleihem ilamayla, which comes upon them from above, machneses belibim uhuri teshuva. It causes to enter into them, into the ones who are now close to him, into their hearts, thoughts of shuva, umaisim tevim, thoughts of shuva and good deeds. So this is the influence, the ripple effect of the avodah of the tzaddik from when he was down here below and now up above, the ripple effect that goes outward, which I think, we're very blessed that we have a relationship, each one of us in our own way, with the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and we can see this. We have seen this, and it was commented on earlier classes when we started this letter a while ago about the multiplicity of Chabadniks. Saw a video about a bunch of Vishnu Chassidim dancing in an airport with a full orchestra and everyone wearing a Strimlach. And someone commented, it looks like everybody's becoming a Lubavitcher, because we've been doing that for years in airports, putting on tefillin and encouraging. So you see that those who were not even so close to the tzaddik in his lifetime, who are now getting close, adopting his ways and his behaviors and his teachings, are definitely coming under the influence. And all the good deeds, which are born, right? This is seedlings. Someone has an hand up. Yeah, Zoom user. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, it's Riza. I just wanted, I don't know, I hope this is the right thing to say.
Me too.
We were talking about limitations. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe in life, there were a lot of people who were not Chabad were limited by the fact that they're not Chabad. Now, first of all, it's really amazing, because I look for this kind of thing. How many different shuls you could be in where they sing the same niggin as Chabad for Elokeinu. And then you see that there are many people who go to the Ohel, and you'd be surprised. Like, you could tell by the way they're dressed that they're not originally Chabad.
On that subject, we're not surprised many non-Jews are going to the Ohel as well, by the way.
So I think part of this, like, not limitation thing is that people, what we're describing here, which is so beautiful, that no matter, it doesn't make a difference. You're a Yid, and now we're up to the ruchnius of it without the limitation of preconceived notions or prejudices or, I don't know, different things. And everybody wants, everybody sees the MS. Everybody wants the same MS.
That's right. And that's what's available. That's what we're saying. And that became available as the tzaddik became free from the confines of the body. And particularly,
I think we're seeing this very, very much.
Absolutely. Okay.
Like people some ways that people say it is that the Lubavitcher Rebbe was ahead of his time. But when you read this Igeris, it would mean that the Lubavitcher Rebbe could influence more people because they're not confined by,
right.
I have to be a Lubavitcher. They're not confined by that now.
Good. Let's continue.
By Moshe Weinberger, I don't know if you heard of him, but he's a big Tanya teacher. He's definitely not Chabad. He's a YU teacher, and he's in the 5 towns, and he's originally from Borough Park. By Moshe Weinberger, a phenomenal speaker.
Yes. What did you want to say about it?
That he teaches a lot of Tanya. It's like one of the things he teaches a lot of, and he teaches it to YU students. So that's another example of where
he is a chassid. He's a chassid. He's another.
He's a chassid, but his students.
And he wasn't
not.
originally with YU. YU adopted him. But,
yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Let's
Tanya,
move on.
You ready?
Thank you.
V'chol ha'ma'asim tovim, and all the good deeds, ha'neildim ha'ora zu, which are born from this ha'ora, this makiftika ha'ora, sheme'ira me'eres ha'zrayim besoda, which shine forth from the lights which are seeded, planted in this field or orchard up above, as we said above. These are called gidule, growths from growths. Ha'ora zu, and this ha'ora, remember this, it's a soive, it's encompassing now everything, not in panemius, but in makif, but it's encompassing everything, and therefore everything is picking up on it, even though it's not necessary, it's not this, because of its own soive, it's not part of the conscious intellect of everybody. It's just like it's out there. It's a vibration that's out there in the air, and every soul, every Jewish soul particularly, is picking up on it at levels deeper than seichel. That's part of the function of or hasoivet. And this ha'ora, ibahelam, and that's another function. They said, even though it's not consciously happening in a manner of intellect, thought, and speech, it's out there and it's being picked up, but just by association of your soul with his soul, and at a root level. And whereas, and the light, the ha'ora itself, in that sense, is concealed. It's not part of mamale. It's in a state of Helen Behester, words that we use also to describe Soviv Kol Almim of the Ebershter. And it's in a great concealment and hiddenness. Like the sun, which shines to the stars, mitachas la'ordets, from underneath the earth. Now, the intent of this mashal is that, like the singular beam of the sun, gives forth an equal illumination to the stars. We're going to see later from the Zohar. The Zohar gives a number, 600,000. Just like the Or HaSoivev is a singular point which gives energy to all the 600,000 souls. Now, the terms of this mashal, I honestly can't explain. And I have not heard an explanation, and I would love to, why the exact terminology of this mashal, like the stars, like the sun which shines to the stars from underneath the earth. But the intention is the singular hidden beam of soive which shines equally on everything. Kedeisa b'tikunim, as is brought in the section of the Zohar called the Tikunim, it's concerning Moshe Rabbeinu, alav hashalom. After Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, right? Mispashetes ha'orosoi bechol dor v'dor. His effusion of his emanation shone and shines in each and every generation. The Rebbe often refers to ispashtusa de Moshe Rabbeinu shebekol echad ve'achas. The Rebbe always changes echad ve'echad to echad ve'achas, to man and woman. There's a hispashtus, there's a flow of Moshe Rabbeinu, meaning an energizing force from the soul of Moshe Rabbeinu within each and every person, in each and every generation. And it shines, l'shishim ribi neshamas, here's the mashal, 600,000 neshamas, right? There are 600,000 root neshamas, and then comes the mashal again, kamei shemesh hamir mitachas la'oretz l'shishim ribi kechavim, like the sun which shines from under the earth to the 600,000 stars. That's today's time. Okay, any other comments or questions on this before we turn to so what? I mean, we have a huge so what here, right? Yeah. Roisa, again. Go ahead. Are you there?
Yeah, I had a thought, and it brought me a lot of simcha. It's a paradox which is touched on in this selection, that the yard side of a tzaddik is not a day of sadness. The
Why
yard
should it
side
be
of a tzaddik,
right.
you don't say
Why do you
tachanun.
call it a paradox? The yard
Because
side
you
is a
would
sign.
think this is a day that we're remembering that this person is no longer with us and we miss them.
Well, really, though, the yard side is really to celebrate the aliyah of the neshama. Right? That's why we make a l'chaim on the yard side. We don't mourn on a yard side. That's really the intention of a yard side, to celebrate.
So
Yeah.
now we have a little bit of an understanding of what we're celebrating.
Yeah, good.
So it would seem to me that, for me personally, as someone who just lost my husband, there are times of simcha and there are times of closeness to Hashem that I feel more so now than when my husband was alive, or even times of
Yes, because for
of
the very reason we're on the page, because his aura, in a certain way, is more available.
right.
That's exactly what we're saying.
So,
Yes. Remember. Let me interrupt you. Amach kulam tzadikim. We're speaking about a tzaddik, and that's true. And this is true. We're speaking about Lubavitcher Rebbe and other tzaddikim. But we all have, every Jew has that point of tzaddik. So it's not a stretch, or it's not untrue to speak about this in relation to the aliyah of the neshama of every Jew and any Jew. And therefore, it's no surprise that you should feel that way. And Baruch Hashem is that you do, that you're feeling it. So let me interrupt you now, because
this is very misameach.
Riza, I have to interrupt you because I need to move, and I want to get to a few beheims. Okay.
Okay.
Get to a few. So what? Now that we have this information, what are we going to do with it?
We try and connect to the tzaddikim.
We try to connect to the tzaddikim and know that the tzaddikim are very available, right? And why do we try to connect? What do we want from that connection? Or what is given to us, better said? What is given to us from that connection?
That I don't know.
Yes, you do. Mhm. Yes, you do.
Connection. A connection.
What do we get? Go ahead.
I'm saying connection to Hashem. Like that's the go between.
Yes, but more particularly, what's given to us, we've learned here, is the effusion of all of the tzaddik's avodah, his whole style, if you will, to put it a little bit crude. His whole style, his whole derech is something that we can participate in. And if it's this Rebbe that we're speaking about, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, we know what the derech is, right? Hayim la soisam. The day is the day to bring Mashiach. And we have the power, for that from the effusion of the ha'ora of the Eor Ein Sof that's embedded in and diffused from the tzaddik's soul. Anybody else want to offer?
So I drove Sarah Balcony home. This was right after her brother was freed, and she said to me, "Could you do for me one thing? And it doesn't have to be from the writings of the Rebbe. Talk about Geula."
Okay.
So this is something that's Obechaim.
That's something that's beautiful, right? The Rebbe Kochzich, he cooked, right? His whole being was about Bias HaMashiach and his Galus HaMashiach and getting past all the blockages, all the birurim. And we have the koyach inherited from him with the power that's coming from the holy garden, the holy orchard of apples, because of his broad effusion that's available to us now. And with that, unless someone else wants to offer something, I'm concluding. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
You didn't cut me off yet, so I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to cut everybody off. You want to say?
I'm going to say we shouldn't think our powers are limited. We are unlimited also.
That's right.
That's my booking for the day.
Okay. Thanks for it. It'll be on the recording. Bye-bye.
Bye.